Hi, my name is Alexis. I'm a relationship therapist and I help people building successful relationship with their spouse. In this video, I'm going to talk about breakups, but more specifically about the few things that people don't know when it comes to breakup, especially when it comes to the pain of the breakup. You might have an amazing support system around you and you should rely on them, but there are things they might not know about your own experience. And I just wanted to share those 5 things because sometimes we just feel the need to make sense of what's happening to us, especially when it's painful. First element is the pain feels worse before it gets better. So what I'm saying is, after a breakup, it's usually extremely painful because there's a lot of things we need to recalibrate, there's a lot of things we need to digest, to understand. And the pain is usually the strongest. And then after a few weeks, you sort of move forward, have other sets of routine in your daily life. Your sort of nervous system has calmed down. But that doesn't mean that you won't feel the pain and that things will be linear and you'll get better. Usually what happens is like you feel better. It's quite hard at the beginning, then you feel better. And then there's a relapse, usually when you start getting in touch with your ex or when you have news from your ex, because it's bringing you back to that relationship, to that what we perceive as a failure. So you get that clarity, but then as you progress through that grieving process, you might get more confused if you hear from your ex, if you speak with them. That doesn't mean you should not speak with them. That means that you have to bear in mind that the way you feel right now will get better at the beginning, then will get slightly worse as you try to get closure from your partner. But that's the only phase, that's the a non-negotiable. If you want to get that closure, it's important for you to be able to speak with them if you can and clarify whether that relationship was right for you or not. So getting worse before things get better is very common and you have to go through this, unfortunately. Second thing, especially if you have an avoidant attachment style, avoiding emotions will prolong the healing. If you're an avoidant person like myself, when we have negative emotions, our initial coping mechanism is to dismiss. That's why it's called dismissive avoidance. We dismiss emotions. They're not valid. I don't want to listen to them. They don't make sense. They prevent me from being efficient at work, from having my life, etc. But when you do that, you forget to understand that they have a meaning, that they can help you figure out this situation. Again, as I said in the introduction or in the previous slide, it's really about understanding, getting clarity. When you suppress those emotions, they're not gone. They're going to resurface at a later stage. That's what happens usually when avoidant break up with their partner. At the beginning, they feel okay. But after a few months, when they start processing the breakup finally, because there's usually a delay, then those emotions will resurface and they will go through crises, whether it's at work, with their family, with their friends. They will isolate themselves even more. They'll feel depressed because they feel that they're always self-sabotaging relationships, etc., etc. So the point is to be able and find the tools to process those emotions. Emotions are not bad in themselves. It's what you make of them that's useful. One thing you could do is keep a journal. So for instance, a lot of my clients have WhatsApp with me and they use WhatsApp as a way to keep a journal. So they will write and tell me how they feel in the morning, in the evening, and we can discuss about that. It's okay to cry. It's okay to vent. It's okay to speak with a friend, to be able to discuss and unload those emotions with someone. If it's with a therapist, that's great because it's more structured, but it could be with a friend, with someone you trust. But don't keep things to yourself. Don't feel that those emotions are bad. No, those emotions are just a sign that you're a human being, right? That you're going through something difficult. And those emotions are something you need to unpack and process, because if you don't, you're going to prolong the healing process. So when you work with a therapist, his or her job is not necessarily to help them forget your ex, but it's helping you to structure that healing process so it takes as little as possible. There's no magic formula. It's a process and it takes a bit of time, but having the structure in place will help you. It's not so much about enjoying the process, but it's about learning and growing from this process. Third one is you don't have to let go of love to move on. You don't have to hate your ex if you want to move on. Moving on is about releasing the pain. That's not about erasing the love. What you had with your partner will always be there, right? Some people feel like I need to hate this person if I want to move on. That's not how it works. It should be self-centered. What you have to do is grieve the potential, the future, what you had, to also grieve the should have and the could have when you look at the relationship. But those moments that you had will always be there. And the point of that healing process is not to look at them with regrets, with a sense of deep sadness, but with fondness, right? And that will happen, that happens to everyone at some stage. When you look at those memories, those times together, you won't be sort of envious of those moments, but feel like, oh, I'm glad I had those times. Because the whole point of that healing process is to be able to project yourself into the future. That's the hardest part when it comes to breakup, is you're not grieving so much the past, you're grieving what could have been. And so that's the whole point of being actively building, designing a life on your own terms. And therefore, once you do that, there's not so much like attachments to what was in the past. The fourth one is that the pain that you're going through can also be physical. It's very interesting, but studies have shown that breakup will activate the same brain region that is tied to physical pain. And that's why a lot of people, when they go through a difficult breakup, they will have loss of appetite, or they will overeat, they will have sleep problems. Either they'll be sleeping way too much or finding it hard for them to go to sleep. You might even find symptoms, chest tightness, and so on and so forth. And so the point is, okay, these are physical symptoms of something happening with me. You can also help treating the symptoms. So with a psychologist, with a therapist, you can help working through the psyche, right? And understand the mechanism in your mind, in your brain. But also, as part of this work, it's important to have the right environment to take care of yourself, basically. So it's about like having a healthy routine, exercise to stay active, be outside, walk, etc. It's about nutrition as well. When we are depressed, when we feel low, the first thing we want to do is to eat ice creams in front of the TV, is to eat junk food. I'm okay with that if you do that for a week. But at some stage, you have to figure out that's not what will help you feel better. And it's important because body-mind connection is something, right? That's something that will also impact your mental health. If you eat crap food, if you don't sleep properly, if you don't stay active, well, regardless of the work that you do with your therapist, you're never going to feel well, right? So I'm okay with you having 1 week of like doing everything wrong in terms of taking care of yourself and maybe feeling, okay, I deserve some junk food and I just stay at home and sleeping all day. Okay, put a timer to that and mark in your calendar at a certain date, okay, I'm going to start treating myself, treating my body as a temple. That's how I'm going to feel better. Also feel better about yourself in your own body, in order to also process the breakup physically and mentally. These are the two things we need to work on when we process a breakup. The fifth one, which I think to me is the most important one, and the reason I'm doing this job, is that breakups are a way for you to learn more about yourself. That difficulty, this challenge, will also help you to develop resilience, to learn to grow. When people come to see me, yes, sometimes they want to get back with the ex, sometimes they want to move on, but my objective is to work with them and helping them to grow. This working on your self element. And all of my clients, they don't always get back with the ex because we have to face the reality that it takes two to build a healthy relationship. But they're always happy about the growth, about the journey, about what they've learned. So yes, it's painful. This breakup is painful. I'm not disregarding this. I'm not dismissing it. Even though I'm dismissing avoidant, but I'm also a therapist. So I'm trying to help you understand and process this so you can learn something and become not necessarily a better person, but be more equipped to have the right relationship. And it's about emotional resilience. It's about creating that secure base. it's about having this emotional toolkit to be in the right relationship, to communicate effectively with your partner. And looking back, that's my promise. Looking back at this breakup, you'll see, right now it's difficult to see, but looking back, you'll see how this breakup would benefit your life, your relationships. And if you have any questions, if you want to share your story, let me know in the comment section. I know a lot of people are looking at the comments to get hyped and get that motivation. So please do share your stories, do share the key moments or maybe tips, things that you're doing right now to feel better, to process things better. Or if you have any questions, let me know. And I'll see you next time. Take care.